directions about how to set this up.
Like a little pamphlet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Everett and I did figure it out that one day. Eventually, we did get it.
That's, it's not rocket science.
This is that came by and the guy had his drawing was about.
Figured I got. I was one, but they even told me that to the but I'm I have to. Whatever you want, because show me your water zones. You can see one, and all of it.
I did it for the, I did exactly that for the bylaws. Write a how to for the bylaws. I gave them to Everett. It's just a thing that, a little cheat sheet that tells you how the votes go.
Application. Downtown.
Yeah, they told us that we had this in fraud. How was it?
I was with my daughter.
Oh,
So,
okay.
when we shift started. And that was only the game. Yeah, here we go. This is over there, so we took a lot of reading, but we're going. All right, so we. Yeah, oh, and then, I was you. We try to you, that sometimes. You did that about 6 hours.
Oh,
That's a good thing.
yeah, they mentioned it over there. In live with the law. But nobody has.
You have to get security clearance, especially. We should start meeting, well, have to start meeting on Monday. So. Sorry.
All day, I was charging my watch. And my watch was like, I just keep that in.
That's it. It's not bad. Good.
I know, it's cooled down like 15 degrees, because it was what, 4 and it wasn't that I was necessarily uncomfortable. First I thought about Eric and told me, oh my god. Once everybody came in and talking, and then poor Aaron, I'd be like, oh.
Oh, I need to go get my butt. Let me. I need to get my butt.
The card.
Hey, how Kyle? We remind right next to that. The ones that go away, so you can also build out. You gotta get
Oh, I was gonna ask you, let's see, and the secretary's report, I was trying to remember the name, remember that guy? It was both writing, what was the name of the other guy? that came over?
Tony.
Okay, you added to I just added it again. And now, but you added, I could not remember, you see it right there, both right and and I left it like that. Thank you so much. I couldn't remember, and I couldn't find a name like anywhere. Okay.
There you
Thank
go.
so much. I'm gonna go get my phone.
Fine.
Came over the survey. They had that in the 20s. So can, okay. We don't have them, when you get to basically a black. You don't bring that. Well, they can't that. Learn to read it. And then give them the act. Oh. It was like we're doing. So you got that, you know. Getting this is that, the other. And then you have to read. You this whole, how much you take a group of French, you know, they like, you to receive. Help me every. We got all that, taken care of, so we got to take this, like, they were. You know, that going back. But you, yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, she's short, but, she was for her mother. But I, he said she can't. Yeah, she's for her. She's gone to all three times. And the some people. Well, she's not a lawyer. She's a some people. Oh, I mean. And. Oh, they were. They're on the. So. Can I get a power?
Mic check.
Yeah.
Mic check two.
Yeah. There's your name. And here's the paper ones, saying, down. The answers. Oh, yeah, there's a next one coming. Wow. Yeah, we're doing safety. All the papers, play, not city. They will be one. From the right play. I was hiding, and baby tank. Now they're going to.
Oh,
So wrong, go that.
Weird song.
it's not that I don't like it. I mean, Rush is fine. DJ, you have let me down. DJ, I need you to play community friendly music.
Okay, green one is on and this one,
This one?
that one's on, you just have to click the button and that one's if we need another one.
Okay.
That one's not on, you just have to hold the button. That one just touch it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I did. Oh, wait, is this it?
Take it home.
That's not it. What?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, so maybe I'm with that slash regarding FCC, I mean, for the bylaws, basically. Most of it's like not important, but a couple things is, you should know. So
Nice.
maybe the same thing for.
Wait, can you put it? This one. Yeah, just take this one and this one off, because they're here, so I don't want this one.
This,
Yeah, just that one. They're here, so,
oh yeah, I've got them on the.
yeah,
on the
so, I don't,
presentation.
okay. There you go, good, so I don't have that. Okay, so I was gonna talk to you about something. So, we posted like a reel about the train, and on Facebook, people went off,
You're gonna have.
like, real negative comments.
Hmm.
So I don't know if I should like address it here. I mean, it's most of the people, like on Instagram, it was fine. People like, most of the people liked it. But there were some comments that I was like, damn. They were,
I guess my sense, I think.
like, what is the point? Like, what is the point for music?
It's not about the. Yeah, like, we should, we should.
We're gonna just bring it outside. This is what we do. We don't do it for.
But I'm hoping that helps. It's like you can talk all day, like no, let's take this thing and then we see it like picture of it.
It's this one guy.
Yeah.
At least that's-
What's that? I mean, I do have something, to say something.
I don't mind saying something.
Huh?
I don't mind saying something, and I don't mind responding as me.
I mean, I can say something. I know that most of the people here understand this,
Oh, yeah.
and I think it's just,
My whole thing is
just so that when people, when we face, like, people will hear, see those
pretty
comments.
much you should just have like 3 sets of.
But I'm happy to.
And.
I mean, I don't mind saying so, because I did think of that. I did think of
No,
that.
it's a good reminder because I wanna.
I can say something and they-
Because I think it ties into another reminder specifically.
Is that how we went in?
We usually end up turning that one off.
Okay.
Oh, no, it feels better now. They cranked it. It was pretty, it has not yet. Let me double
I
check.
think it may have been means of my home works.
Yeah, it's not here. Oh, I have to be careful now because our company is now using a thing called Clay. And so now my
Hey,
automatic.
I was
updates
just checking to
come in
make
here.
sure your slides are updated.
I don't have the updated one. Just the regular one.
If I were to text you like a Google link, is that?
Should be able to.
Yeah, for the presentation.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what was.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine.
Okay.
And that's pretty easy for us to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just what, I don't know, I think she just made this with the nerdy stuff, but it's really just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did the QR code change at all?
Yeah, no, it was just.
Megan, you expect to leave at your favorite local businesses?
Oh, sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she just forgot to.
Megan,
Oh,
notice
okay.
that?
So that's all.
Well,
I go to
whatever
11, they
reason,
end up in the
doesn't-
trash, you'll never know.
I'll insert that here, and I don't mind leaving that, now, how do you prefer to verbalize? Sustainability? How do y'all refer to it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
That's okay, and I don't know, I have super amount of questions, but,
Yeah.
this will be our first chance.
Did you text something?
And if you need me to come up.
Well, I might just say, can you stand and
Okay.
for us here? Can you stand?
Did you text another one? Clay, did you text another one? Cause I need to pull it up before I present.
Again, but, turns out it's a minor thing. If like the bulk of the slides are gonna be okay.
Yeah, it was like 2 words that were changed, that's it.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to text it, so we may have to just like.
That's fine.
I don't know how to-
You can try, but I just have to present in just a couple minutes and I don't like pulling my email up in front of everybody. Okay. All right. And he, yeah.
Actually, my laptop is not. Is it too long?
Thank you. Yes. Sorry? I use one of those little sleeper things. You wrap your hair around it. This was my first time.
You see, we've all been telling her.
I don't usually wear curls, but I have to travel and I can't bring my hair straightener because it's another country. So I need another option to look professional while I'm going. Take it. I'm gonna double check. See if there's anybody on Zoom. Oh, yep. Megan Farrar. All right, y'all, we're gonna get started in just a couple of minutes. I'm gonna go check and see if there's more people signing in. I don't mind walking around.
We should.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for coming to our meeting today. My intention today is for everybody to feel informed and educated and empowered to do some things that are good for the neighborhood. So thank you for coming, and I will call this meeting to order. I just want to first say welcome. I'm going to go through a few updates with potentially our elected officials if they're here. We'll give time to any candidates that might be here to speak. We'll go through treasurer secretary reports, go through our keynote speakers, voting updates and Cape Center update, community updates, committee updates, and announcements from there. So raise your hand if this is your first time coming to one of our meetings. Yay! Thank you so much for coming. I promise I'm not going to make you introduce yourself unless you just want to, but thank you so much for coming. And I really hope that you find this meeting so informative and helpful that you return. So, but while we have everything here, do we have any candidates for election here? All right, do you want to come say hello?
Hi, y'all. My name is Chris Wright, and I'm running for Houston City Council position 4 at large. I'm running because I got tired of us not being in the room. I'm running because we keep making decisions that none of us made for ourselves. We all have voices, and it's time for us to shape the city that we want. Micro businesses ought to be at the top of the list, right? Affordable housing, preserving our neighborhoods. One of the things that digs under my goat, I grew up in this neighborhood on Bell Street, Cullen and Leland, right? I went away, just go to school, do some work and stuff. Came back and they were calling me Ida. I don't know where Edo is. And I tell people that all the time. And when we add, thank you for your work. When we add the Polk Street closure, when we add this foolishness going on with a convention center that no one's going to use because they don't use them anywhere, right? Meanwhile, there are other cities, I used to be a local government reporter, there are other cities that do prioritize what the people want. And there are systems and processes and procedures put in place. That's what I specialize in, is processes, procedures, technology that backs us. There's currently more than a dozen platforms that would put us at the table. Have you heard city council talk about that? Just the scooters, huh? Right? So I appreciate y'all letting me have some time to talk. I'm here available to answer questions. I don't have any cool printouts today, but you can go to joinchris.com. It's CRIS, no H in Chris, or you will go to a completely different website. And like I said, if you need anything, come talk to me. I'm truly not a politician. In fact, when people say, oh my gosh, you're going into politics. No, I'm not willing to be a politician. I'm willing to be a public servant. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. We encourage everybody to do their homework on all elected officials that are running. That's not specific to at-large position 4, but all of the at-large candidates, all of city council that are coming up. There's a lot coming up, so we just make sure that you do your homework as much as possible. Whoops. I had a place for elected officials, but I don't see any elected officials or their team. Am I mistaken there? That's okay. I think I have you on the speakers. Okay. All right, so Poulani, when she comes in, we'll come back to the treasurer's report. So we're gonna go ahead and move into our secretary's report.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So last month we had a pretty busy meeting, which was really great. We had a lot of stuff and we were able to leave on time, which was great. All right, so we had Frank Gonzalez from Representative Sylvia Garcia's office. We had Mayor Anise Parker. We did have Javon Tyler, a large 4 candidate, as well as Alejandro Salinas, which is also a large candidate. We did have Atlantic Elementary PTO coming over to tell us about their mission and all the projects that they have this school year. We did have Houston Solid Waste Management talking about the new trucks that the city has purchased, and then we have kind of seen them around the neighborhood already. We had Ian Lavicek coming over talking about the Telephone Road Improvement Plan. We had also Bofrag and Tony Allender, from Church 23, talking about the same. And then we did talk a little bit about the Cape Center, about our possible relocation, just to introduce it for you guys. And we also have committee, updates. We can approve the minutes? Okay, yes, sorry, you want to go? Yes, yeah, I think you have to do that, all right?
We're trying to be a grown-up organization, so we,
Yes.
we have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second? We have a second, great. Do we have any discussion? Any questions? All right, cool, so, the motion is to approve the minutes from August 2025 general membership meeting. Is everybody in favor? Are there any opposed? All right, perfect, great, the
Thank
motion
you.
passes, like I
Okay.
said, squeaky gavel. I don't know if this.
All right, I think okay. Also I wanted to let you guys know, if you're interested, the Eastwood Voice is out, so I encourage you guys, if you want to scan the QR code, just to check out the latest about our neighborhood, and, yeah, just take a look at it, scan it. We also want to share, we did have a pretty bad storm on August 31st, and we were able to send out some videos and some warnings and just keep you guys updated about what's happening at that moment. We did have a huge response from our neighborhood, and we want to thank you guys for just staying updated and also warning people, sharing what we were just letting you guys know, because it was kind of a scary situation, especially for the people that live in areas that usually flood. And then just for staying home and just making sure that everyone was safe. So we appreciate that. We did have kind of like a lot of online activity, which was really good, and everyone was very supportive. Hold on, where do I go the next one? Doesn't let me go. It's not doing it.
That's fine.
All right, also the Forest Neighborhood Library, this is their September calendar. If you guys are interested, you can scan the QR code and you can find all of their events happening this month. Yeah, we also have this posted online, so if you guys are interested, you can also find them there. Just want to share it out if you guys want to take a look at it. They have plenty of activities, not just for kids, but for all ages. You want to bring up that thing we talked about?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So this is gonna, it sort of ties into some of the stuff that Everett does. Everett posts a lot on social media. And I highly suggest everybody recognize that, because he does some fantastic work. So social media is making sure everybody is updated. However, we posted about just reporting the block trains. And I think people who have been here a while know that we don't hate the trains. Okay, they are a huge part of the economic development of the city. They bring in millions of dollars, billions of dollars. They bring in jobs. However, since 2020, the number of trains that have stopped, this is not like a train spiel, but the number of trains have stopped, huge number of hours. And we shouldn't have kids crawling through trains to get to school. And what we're finding, unfortunately, is there are people online who are putting in some pretty nasty remarks about that. So I just want to make that clear that Eastwood Civic Association does not condone bullying, violence, negativity in that sort of way. We need to work together towards solutions. And I'm fully on board with the notion, the idea that we know the trains have been here forever, but they haven't stopped as long as they have before, since 2020. They haven't gotten as long as they have since 2020. And the number of them has substantially increased since 2020 specifically. If the railroads admit that this is a problem, if the Federal Railroad Administration admits this is a problem, it's not just Lindsay complaining. It's not just the new people complaining. And I don't care if you've lived here 2 hours or if you've lived here 50, 70 years. Everybody deserves to live in a safe, clean, healthy environment. So I just want to make sure that I share that. If you see it, you don't have to say something, I get it, that's difficult, but we just want to make sure that we share, we don't condone those types of things. That's not in our nature. We are a positive organization, and we're about finding solutions to big problems. So I just wanted to say that. Did you want to go through?
Oh, wait, I wanted to add a little something.
Sure,
Yes.
go ahead.
I can tell you something out of experience. I can tell you two things. Number one, I used to work at Austin High School. I worked there for 6 years. And one of the things that I would notice was that when the train was blocking, I can exactly remember that. I had a class of 31 kids first period. When the train was blocking, I only had 2/3 of the kids there. I had about 20 kids. So 10 of them were late because of the train, because they couldn't cross. Whether it was they were coming in car in their own vehicles, whether it was a bus, or they were just walking. It was bad for attendance purposes. So that affects that was just one school, right? We have plenty of schools in this neighborhood that, for which many kids have to cross the train tracks. And so that was a big problem. Even the school would excuse some because of the train. That was a big thing. Number two, now that I'm working somewhere else now, but every morning, I'll tell you right away, I get out of my house and I see three kids crossing the train tracks just to make it down to their high school. I can tell it's a high school, I don't know which one they go to. That's number one, three kids. Then I keep on going down my commute and I see a lady with her two kids right there on Ruskin Lockwood, waiting for the bus that has to cross the train tracks on the Galveston South train tracks. So they can take it and go to their destination. Then I keep on going a few blocks right away. There is a student, she looks like an elementary kid, who has special needs. So a bus has to pick her up. And again, same thing, that bus comes from the other side of the train tracks. And so if we don't have, if we don't report these things, kids like them just suffer, it's in so many ways. Our growth in our area suffers. Every single individual suffers here. We're not here to like say, oh, we don't want the trains here. If we report things, it's because we want them to invest and to engage in this community. We want them around and we want them to make the best out of this community. I want them to be good neighbors. That's it. Right.
Cool. All right, perfect. Anything else? Or you feel good?
That's it. No, that's it. I think it's, yeah.
Oh, block
That
captains?
part, I mean, we're probably gonna need like later on. Yes, thank you.
That's fine. So we'll go ahead and move into our update here. I had some confirmation earlier before I went on vacation that Representative Christina Morales was going to be here. I checked in again and I didn't get a response. So if she comes in, that would be great. But we're going to go ahead and start with people for Polk. And then we'll move into the Harris County District Clerk and then sustainability. So we'll go into this here.
That's loaded. Good evening, I'm Ian Lavacek, so I'm apparently gonna be a repeat speaker here. I'm joined by Lisa. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hunt, and I live on Dallas Street.
Thank you, and we're part of, I'm a traffic engineer during the day. I'm an advocate for safe streets in Easton by night. That's why I had a couple of related hats that I wear. But Lisa and I and several other people in the group started People for Polk right away back in February when we saw the signs about the abandonment. So we've been working on this for a while. Am I queued up?
Oh, I can get you. Sorry, that was me.
No problem.
He did send me a presentation and I just needed to.
It's very quick because we just want to give you a couple of updates because it's kind of do or die time right now. We've been working on this all year without very good information throughout the whole year. We've been pushing. And the information that we have is because community members have been pushing ever since February. Every indication is we would not have heard a thing if we had said a thing. So that's due to the people for Polk, and it's due to everybody else who has helped us by emailing, by making calls and everything that everybody's doing. So we're getting close. We heard from the president of Houston First, Michael Hickman, just a couple months ago saying that was in July, and their goal is to close Polk in September or October. We're in September. We haven't heard anything else since then, and it doesn't really look like that's a feasible timeline. But until we hear anything better, that's as good as we got. So the time is very short. So just keep going. There's a couple of slides we have. This is really going to be kind of a call to action for as many people as we can get to help us as we go to the kind of the finish line. And all the pretty pictures that Houston First shows may or may not exist. They're thinking 15 to 20 years in the future with billions of dollars coming from residences, from Airbnbs, from they're hot taxis. And so they claim that a lot of it's from hotels in downtown. It's actually from way more than downtown. It's from all the areas around downtown. So we're paying for this, which is going to be a wall for us. It might be nice on the other side of that wall, but that's not for the East End.
And so that's why we've been fighting this all along. And it's not just that they're gonna be putting all the good stuff on the other side of their building. It's that they're shutting us off from it entirely. So whereas right now, I think we all know, for those of us who have been here long enough, the GRB is the reason that we don't have very many ways into and out of downtown. If you see where the streets, if we're down here, right, so that's north of the city, down here, most of those streets that don't go through used to go through until the GRB came. And then the GRB expanded, and here we are again in 2025, and it's expanding again. Every time they told us, this is all we need, and here we are again, this is all we need, there's nothing more to take. At the end of it, it'll be a wall that we cannot get through this 8 football fields long. From Leland Street on the south, all the way to Rusk on the north. I'll point out that if you try to access downtown from this area, Rusk northward, there are streets, but they are hard. Rusk, Capitol, both dead end, it's a soccer station. We're left with Texas that does its wiggle. None of that is easy, and that's what we're left with. Without Polk down the middle, thank you, Paul, for this. This is the street that we have right now. It is our best street in and out of downtown, and they're taking it away. All right, go to the next slide. And just to put all of this in perspective about why we had to make such a fuss over this year, I think everybody here knows, I don't have to belabor the point too much, but this is what we have right now after decades of transportation decisions that have impacted the East End. These are the streets that provide us any kind of really decent connections into downtown and beyond downtown. And you'll note that what I have on the bottom is in dashed lines, the Pierce Elevated, which if you're driving is one of our main ways to get on the other side of downtown. What's gonna happen in a couple of years is that TxDOT's gonna come through, well, I don't, go to the next slide, I forgot I'm not pointing here. TxDOT's gonna come through one more back, let's see if it'll take it.
Oh.
And click once. So what happens here when TxDOT builds all of the freeway around downtown, we lose the Pierce Elevated entirely. If the GRB closes Polk, we lose that entirely, and we're left with a mess of streets that don't go anywhere. That's inconvenient, but one of the things that a lot of people have concerns about, and I don't have the same level of concern, is that freeway is all gonna be underground through here. I think it'll be okay most of the time, but we are clearly putting all of our ways in and out of downtown underground, and if you have to get out during a hurricane, and if that floods, we're gonna be trapped. So I would say this is far beyond an inconvenience. This is a life safety issue for the East End, and nobody's tying this together for us. Go to the next slide, please. And it's just, it boggles all of our mind about why we can have this conversation, because no other city does this. Every single one we have looked for anybody else that sacrifices their streets like Houston first is gonna sacrifice ours. And Philadelphia doesn't do it. Dallas, their big plan for the convention center, Convention Center, is not gonna do it. If you look at their plan, they have roads all throughout their convention center because they know how important it is. Chicago builds over the roads, that's actually Seattle there and then Los Angeles. We can keep going, the list is extensive, you can do your own research. We are the exception, Houston is the exception. And so are we the only ones who are getting it right? Are we the only ones getting it wrong? Next. So if you want to take this one, so from the very beginning, we have also, people have not brought us alternatives. The city has not brought the East End alternatives. The city asked us, well, if you don't want to lose Polk, you're gonna lose Polk, you're gonna lose Polk. But what can you get out of it? What else can you ask for? And we were scrambling to try to figure out what's a reasonable ask, what's the leverage that we have? And this is one alternative that we came up with.
So community benefits agreements are accords that are struck by communities and municipalities or developers. In Houston, there's precedent for community benefits agreement. The ION, the Third Ward neighborhood, created a CBA. Also, the East River Project has a community benefits agreement with their developer. Having gotten no response from Houston First with our meetings with them and no alternatives, people for Polk worked with our super neighborhoods to come up with a minimal framework for a community benefits agreement.
This convention center is on board to be spending close to $2 billion to develop the whole master plan. We think losing our collective assets of streets and mobility should come at a cost to Houston First. They're anticipating in their most recently released economic impact statement that over the 30 years of the bonds, they anticipate raising $20 billion, that will be the impact on the Houston economy. We think it's reasonable that the East End and those on the east side of 59 get some of that benefit through investment in our infrastructure. We also think that it's really reasonable to say, study this before you start putting shovels in the ground. There is no comprehensive transportation plan. You look at what Houston First has produced, it only goes to downtown. It does not cross 59, and they have not looked at the streets in the East End at all. So we think that we need a study that would also incorporate the reality of trains, because we all know that that's a huge transportation issue. And while they're talking about Leland as an alternative to Polk, there's no money that's in writing for a grade separation for those trains. And there's also no commitment to go through to Louisiana. Also, no plans for special events coming out of the Toyota Center. We think we can do better. We also think that Polk has been a really wonderful investment in multimodal transportation so far. You can walk to downtown, you can ride your bike, you can use an e-scooter, you can take a 40 or 41 bus directly to downtown. We're going to lose that vital connection, and we think we should be able to get an equivalent multimodal access to downtown. And we think that we're not giving up on the notion that Polk should remain open, because it's open until it's abandoned. So that's really the fight right now, is to keep it from being abandoned. I think we can go to the next. Oh, wait, hold on. This is really an important one. Houston First has been developing their master plan, which we've never seen and has never been made public, in the shadows with corporate interests in mind. The citizens of our neighborhood and of Houston were never engaged in what was important to us about a downtown entertainment district. They're calling this a transformational project. Part of the mayor's argument for why this is good for us down the East End is that we will get a 30-acre cat park, which is unfunded right now. And there's no design for that, although there's a committee that has been formed by the mayor to begin the process of articulating what that cat park may need to be. We think that it's reasonable for us to demand in a community benefits agreement that residents of the East End and affected neighborhoods have a seat at that table. Otherwise, our perspective as users of that cat park won't be there. And it is highly likely that our concerns about quality of life, about affordable housing, about jobs and small business development won't be addressed in that plan unless we're there, because we can see what the results are when we're not there. Okay, now we can go to this. So this is crunch time, as Ian said. We have been doing individual meetings with every council member to determine where they are in the position. Our council member, Joaquin Martinez, opposes our efforts to do a CBA. He also plans to vote to abandon Polk Street. He's not the only member of the council. We want to urge you to call him and email him. And we want you to call your at-large council members as well to urge them to keep Polk Street open and to delay any vote on the abandonment until we know what alternatives we're going to have for transportation. Just as a reminder, this isn't just a 2-year project. This is going to take 12 years to go from the beginning of it through to the construction of the cat park, which is when we're going to be made whole in terms of access to this side of the freeway. We also know that City Council is having evening meetings. They are engaging the public in a reasonable way at a time when we can come. So we're trying to show up en masse it's the next slide, sorry. Next Tuesday evening We want to fill the room and we want to be able to tell our story cohesively together. And so we want to encourage you to come out. There are flyers on the table as we checked in. There's also a QR code here. Wear blue. If you sign up to come by noon tomorrow, you get a free shirt. And I want to thank our friends for providing that. We want to have at least 50 people there. And we want to be able to have speakers that are coordinated who can tell our stories. If you're interested in speaking, that QR code will give you the direction on that. Councilmember Martinez needs to hear from us. One of the things that's been very interesting to me personally is that the notion that citizens can get organized to speak has raised the question about whether we're paid organizers. Nobody is getting paid on this effort, trust me. But I think that the notion that we're organized for something we care about is novel. And so I think Councilmember Martinez needs to hear from us. Also, the mayor really needs to hear from us. I think there's this impression that it's just community activists that care about Polk Street, and we know that's not true. It will be impacting all of us. So I encourage you to call or write the mayor. I encourage you to join us next Tuesday night. You have to sign up to speak by Monday, and we'll be following up with you. I'm so thankful that we can be together and that we are having an impact. Every council member we've talked to have said that they so appreciate the efforts, that it's vital, and that they did not know the information that we're sharing with them. So I want to thank you for sharing your skills, and I look forward to working with you together on this effort.
For Lisa, but one last thought is that we are not getting ignored. The fact that we had almost 900 followers on Instagram now, we are getting a lot of news coverage. All the council members are paying attention. We had a state representative, Jelanda Jones, join us on Sunday. We have high-powered people paying attention to this issue. And so all it's gonna, we think, I wouldn't say we're in a good place, but we've got all channels working in our favor against a behemoth. And every little voice that we can get, every person we can get in that room, if we could fill up city chambers next week with blue shirts all around, that would be an amazingly powerful thing. So even if you can't speak, just being there. But I would encourage everyone, it'll be a good time. The last time I went to the evening session, the first one last month, it was a lot of fun because all of Houston was kind of had a party environment because people were there and they shared kind of their enthusiasm. And a lot of us have only started doing this council speaking this year, and it's not as hard as it looks. I promise, and you'll be among friends. So I hope you'll consider it.
Thank you, Lisa.
This is a 6 p.m. council session?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
This is new as of last month, and they're doing a pilot until the end of the year. So the other thing is showing up at the evening sessions will vote in favor of making it continue.
I do, if you don't mind, I do want to just share something Ian pointed on. I go to council with some regularity. I speak at various organizations. However, they've heard from me before. Hearing from you is far more powerful. And if you're nervous, that's okay. You can literally read from a paper. I'm just sharing that your voice can sometimes be far more powerful than mine in these kinds of situations. So if you have a very strong opinion, either way, please be sure to share that opinion and don't be afraid to. And if you need help scripting something, I'm sure people for Polk would help you. But I just want to reiterate that your voice is more powerful sometimes in these types of situations.
You have a couple questions?
Yep.
Another one.
There's Paul and then
Okay.
Marilyn.
We do go to www.peopleforpolk.com, easy enough. We have all this information listed. It's easy to find. We're to the point now where it's hard not to find us.
Marilyn.
They mentioned that the CAP project is not funded at all by TxDOT and is going to be completely, that is not funded by the TxDOT project. So did they share that with you?
They have shared it, but they haven't emphasized it. Everybody that we talk to is confident it'll be funded, but you're correct, there's no commitment to it yet. So it's a risky thing.
Yeah, there's no commitment to that. And also, we live on Leland and we're trying to get some attention just for the street now because there is so much semi-traffic on the street. It is tearing up the street. It literally shakes our houses. And we can't get the street fixed now. There's going to be more and more semi-traffic. And it's interesting though, for you that, have semi-traffic by your homes, that is something that will drop the value of your property. This semi-traffic at your home. If you go to protest and property taxes, that's something. So it's lowering the value of our homes because they're not giving us, proper ways for transportation.
I hope they'll consider coming out next week, because I think your message will be very powerful. And it's something that lives on Leland, you're not even on the pulp itself, but it is actually too.
And if it's helpful, I learned something really fascinating about the semi trucks, and it's sort of unrelated to people for Polk, but it's kind of related to what you're talking about. For every semi truck that passes through, that's the equivalent of 100 cars, just in terms of the damage and wear and tear on your streets. So that's just something to think about. And so if that's something that is of concern to you, again, you need to spring that up. And I'm not trying to call out Mr. Juan Pablo, but Juan Pablo from District I is here. And I'm sure if you have any questions or about any of those things, you can talk to JP. He's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks. I got it. All right. And I know we recognize Juan Pablo. I don't know if there's anything specific you want to say, just raise your hand. This is Juan Pablo from District I. I talk to Juan Pablo all of the time. He's my buddy, so he knows Eastwood very, very well, and I'm sure he'd be willing to listen to any concern that you have. And I do just want to recognize Mason. I know you're standing up. Mason is with Senator Carol Alvarado's office. I'm sure if you have any questions, you could speak to him as well. Yes.
I think there might have been other candidates for positions too. What do you know?
I have one that just is arriving or is about to arrive. I know Amanda Edwards wanted to come speak. Yeah. Yeah, you can go. Oh, yes, of course. You have you want to come on up? You a candidate? What position? Nice. We're gonna skip back over to candidates. You want to speak here?
Everybody. There we go.
There's a Zoom, so it's helpful to have.
My name is Gordon Thomas. I'm a candidate for city council at large position 4. I used to be a chief of staff at City Hall to Amanda Edwards, who's about to come in here, and talking with Mr. Plummer, who is currently the at-large 4 council member, who's going to be resigning to run for county judge during the special election. In my day job currently, I'm a project manager. I build major infrastructure projects connecting our nation's power grids so that we can share bulk power across the cities. I want to bring that experience back to City Hall because I think I've learned a lot since I left. One of the primary reasons I'm running is because when I hear the message out of city government right now, the primary thing that I hear is that we are broke and incapable of pulling off major projects. I disagree with that. I don't think that we're broke. I think that 670 square miles of sprawling city is causing our infrastructure to break down because it has produced higher maintenance costs than what the tax base can afford to support presently. The way that we combat that is through things like urbanism, through things like infill development. We need a different developmental pattern than what we're currently using. There are 3 things that I think are key for our future. 1, affordable housing. We're in a situation now where we build a lot of housing for middle incomes, but for the very least amongst us, and for the very wealthiest amongst us, we don't build a lot of housing. So what happens is people who can afford Class A push people who can afford Class B out to Class C and B, all the way to where you get a homelessness crisis. I don't believe that we should criminalize poverty. I don't think the police are the answer to solving our homeless problem. I think that we need wraparound services and we need to build housing. Number 2. 345 people died last year as a result of our car crashes. That is more people than died of homicide for the first time in our city's history. That is a preventable problem. This administration has moved away from Vision Zero. Vision Zero is a proven set of best practices in street design that we know saves lives. 1,300 times a week, we crash into one another. And that's where these deaths come from, because our streets are designed for speed. And they're designed to do exactly what we're seeing. This administration, as we've seen in Polk Street and other fights, is not involving community in its infrastructure decisions and instead making decisions in the background and then presenting a plan to you after the fact. I don't agree with that. In my own role at work, I'd be out of a job if I approached infrastructure development in that way. And then finally, I think that we need to get serious about our ecology in this city. I want to bring a shade ordinance to the city of Houston. I think we should double the amount of trees that we're planting. We should do things like implement cool roofing standards so that people can save on their power bills. We can combat the urban heat island effect. I've got a whole bunch of plans on my website. I've probably written more on policy than maybe anyone ever. That's a result of working for this woman right here. So please go to my website, www.votejordanthomas.com. I'll give you some cards so you can go. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we also have Amanda Edwards. I'm sure y'all know who she is before, but we're gonna go ahead and introduce her. And I think it's important to realize that if the current maps hold, she wins that district, she would be the Eastwood representative if this comes all up to fruition.
Thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Amanda Edwards, and I'm your former at-large Houston City Council member, and I'm standing here today because I am running to be the next Congresswoman for the 18th Congressional District. Now, as you all know, the district has experienced quite a bit of loss in a very short period of time. We've lost both Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and Congressman Sylvester Turner within less than a year of each other. But what we also know is that this community is resilient and it is strong, and we stand on the shoulders of great leaders like Barbara Jordan and Nikki Leland and Craig Washington and Sheila Jackson Lee and Sylvester Turner, who fought for people. It's now time for us to embark upon the next leg of this journey. And we've got to uphold that legacy of the past, but we've got to put someone in place that is ready for the fight of our lifetime, which is today. And never in my lifetime have I seen our president fight against the rule of law, healthcare, education, economic stability in the way that this president has. But it's not good enough just for us to go to Washington and fight. We've got to be bringing new ideas, a fresh approach so that we can get different results that our neighborhoods and our communities are looking for and that we deserve. I am no stranger to the 18th Congressional District. In fact, I was born, raised, and I still live in the district to this day. And it's personal to me that we get it right because there are real lives that are hanging in the balance of the decisions that we make, of the systems we create, and of course, the opportunities that are afforded to us. I lived that firsthand. When I was growing up, my dad was diagnosed with something called multiple myeloma when I was 10 years old. And he died from it when I was a teenager. But I'll never forget asking my father, well, what would happen if the insurance company, what if they said no to the health life-saving treatments that my dad needed? And my father would just say, well, we would just have to figure something else out. And I knew then, just like I know right now, that was the wrong answer. And the right answer is that we've got to put systems in place that work for people when it comes to flooding, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to housing, when it comes to healthcare. That's what this work is all about. So right now, we're at a crossroads, and we've got now a special election ahead of us. And they have played politics with this seat like none other. If you count the math of when Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee got sick and passed, Congressman Turner passing, the delay in the special election, the fact that we're going to have a runoff with the special election, we're talking about a period of 18 months that this district has had no vote, no voice, no federal advocate for funding, and we are smack dab in the middle of hurricane season. I can tell you firsthand, and Jordan came too, because he was with me, when we were out in the community and the 51 inches of rainfall hit our community and what that meant for us to not have the ability to prepare ourselves for that type of storm. And so you need somebody who has experience with federal funding. I used to be a public finance attorney, so I was bringing public dollars to public projects for a living for many years before becoming a city council member. But I also happen to have been a city council member at a very dire time in our community with respect to getting the funding we need here. We've got to prevent flooding. The other thing I want to say is that we need somebody who has common sense ideas for our neighborhoods. It makes absolutely no sense from an infrastructure investment standpoint not to have more money and resources being invested into overpasses and underpasses when it comes to the tracks, the trains that are delayed on the tracks on a very regular and consistent basis. Not only is that a public safety threat and it cuts off the ability of emergency service vehicles to be able to come in, but you have seen time and time again, kids, adults die because we haven't had common sense enough to know how to fix this issue. This is not rocket science, guys. We just need leadership in that's gonna push for those dollars to make the right investments so that we can save lives rather than harm them. That's what the work of that you will be sending me to Washington to do. I want to highlight a couple of things. One, I know you all know that the redistricting got passed. That was phase one. Right now, we have entered phase two of that situation, which is that we are now in litigation. Both LULAC and the NAACP have filed lawsuits. Okay, it's a 50-50 shot as to whether the maps will hold or the courts will tell them to redraw them on a temporary basis. There used to be something in the Voting Rights Act called pre-clearance that has gone away. And that would have been really handy in a time like this, because then we didn't have to put it on the individuals and the residents to fight it out in court. That would actually happen at the forefront with the Department of Justice helping to settle if maps were improperly gerrymandered. So we have got to put into place laws that protect us rather than harm us. And that's what this election is about. In the special election, which is taking place in less than 60 days, I want you to be aware of some things. One, it's the original maps that apply to the special election, because this is serving out the original term that Congressman Sylvester Turner was serving. So it's as though you're stepping into the shoes of the same term he was serving. So it's the same map that he used to get elected. Got it? The special election will, even if it extends into a runoff, and even if that runoff is in January 26, which is possible, if that happens, it's still the original maps. So please don't attach calendar year to the new maps. The new maps only apply to the midterm 2026 election, which is March 3rd, 2026. A lot of people don't know that information, so please help spread the word. So again, I want to thank y'all for giving me a few minutes to explain the redistricting, the voting. I don't have to explain what is at stake because you know, but I will say this, it's up to us how this election turns out and how our community is represented. So I hope that you all know that while my name will be on this ballot, it's your future that is on this ballot as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna go through a little bit of voting after we go through one more presentation. But I just want to reiterate that it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you lean on, it is more important that you vote. I cannot stress this enough, so we just want to make sure I reiterate that. We're going to go through and speak to our sustainability team. So if you want to come on up here, let me get your presentation up. All right. There you go.
And then I'll be the last. So if we back up a
Oh,
little bit.
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. That was my
Thank you, everybody. So hard to follow such wonderful speakers today. So thank you all for coming and thank you for keeping everybody engaged. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Clay Dipple and I work with the beautification group here in Eastwood. And I have a wonderful piece of news to share, which is that when we did surveys in the neighborhood over and over again, we asked, what do you want? The answers were consistent. It's solutions on trains, better sidewalks, and trees. And this is where we have a wonderful piece of news to share. I know all of you tend to like trees, and you also tend to all like HEB. HEB has stepped up in a big way to help the community. They have approved our grant application for $5,000 to help plant a whole new grove of trees here in the East End. So it's going to be going right into our ECA boundaries. And specifically, we are looking at an area along Polk Street and along Jumble Street, and specifically close to adjacent elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So we're looking at places that are proven high heat areas that are in need of better shade canopy. Areas where people have gone out with thermometers and actually tracked that these areas are hotter than they should be. And what we're trying to do is replace some of that tree canopy. So if we can go on to the next slide. the grant has been accepted, and we, as the ECA, have been a partner in that grant, but I want to recognize, if I can have Laura stand up and wave in the audience, Laura from Sustainability. This has been a wonderful partnership that we've been able to put together with the ECA board signing off on it. Laura and her team at Sustainability had a table at our spring fiesta earlier in the springtime. They gave some presentations, we started talking. There were so many people in the neighborhood that were interested in planting things, and so it just made sense to work together and see how can we shoot for the moon, and we got a big one, so that's great. Laura and her team are helping to actually curate and purchase and get the logistics together for how we're gonna plant 35 trees here in Eastwood, and we're looking at a range of sizes. We're looking at native species, ones that are designed to help absorb rainwater and that are gonna give an excellent canopy. One of the things that was so successful about the grant application, and I think we can go one more slide, is that it focused on areas where, when possible, the trees themselves could be a barrier between the street and the sidewalk. So when you have children walking to school, not only is it providing shade for that child so that the area is safer and cooler, but if a car should happen to jump the curb, that tree now becomes a safety barrier. We're looking at specifically areas along Eastwood Academy, Navarro Middle School. MC Cullinan Park is another playground area that we noticed was sparse when it came to tree canopy, and there's a big stretch of sidewalk and there's absolutely nothing planted there. We're working with the utility lines, and shout out to Nathan Wood for helping me figure out GIS maps on how to look for buried utilities. So we're gonna try and be good, responsible neighbors when it comes to planting. But specifically, we want to talk a little bit about that HEB program. They are looking in their community outreach to make communities healthier. And this is one of their easy wins that everybody can get along with, regardless of how you vote or where you live, everybody loves trees. And they are supporting communities by partnering with nonprofits. So specifically, the co-applicants in this case are our organization, which is the East Pacific Association, and Sustainability, which is a 501c3. So they are able to handle the tax purposes, and our big responsibility, and this is where we're gonna lean on all of you, is we're gonna need volunteers. We're gonna need lots of people with shovels. And I'm hoping that if you have any green thumb, or even if you don't, and you just wanna help out, we're gonna need people who can help dig and who can help, pass out water bottles and all sorts of things. And we're gonna have a little bit better opportunity on what we're signing up for later. And we can go on one more slide. Yeah, so 35 trees, and this is gonna be a mix of sizes, everything from 5 gallons, 7 gallon, and we're actually talking with HEB if we have additional funding, and ECA has some funding. Our committee has some funding as well. We're gonna see if we can even bump those up and get bigger, more established trees that can help grow faster and better. Right now, we're in the negotiation process, so I don't wanna talk too long, but the big thing is, I do wanna put a date in your calendar, which is November 8th, a Saturday in November. And there's another consecutive date, 1 week later, one Saturday later is November 15th. Those are gonna be our two big plant days. We're expecting to need about 2 to 3 volunteers per tree to dig those holes in place and plant. If you're not a big burly guy and you can't lift, that's okay. There's gonna be roles for anybody who wants to help out. And on our last slide here, we do have a QR code. So if you are interested in volunteering, please let us know. You don't have to make both weekends. You can if you'd like to. But again, it's gonna be a whole lot easier to plant 35 trees. It sounds like a lot, but then you look at digging 35 holes. It's gonna be a lot of work. So the more hands the merrier. Again, please feel free to sign up. We're gonna have tables at the Eastwood Home Tour to be able to help people who are attending the home tour who could sign up. We'll have tables as well as National Night Out. To kind of help get the word out, but spread the word. Even neighbors who don't attend these meetings regularly, if you can invite them along, we hope to make light work of a great project and be something we can be proud of for the next 30, 40, 50 years. Yes, Lisa?
Who maintains the trees? Who will water them once they're planted?
That would be the Eastwood Civic Association. So one of our big things, and that's why I really want to applaud sustainability. We kind of got in a huddle group with a couple of folks from Eastwood and a couple of folks from sustainability. HEB, before they give you a blank check, they want to know, are these trees going to be watered? Are they going to be cared for? Who's checking on them every once a week, once a month? Do we need to reapply mulch? Part of the funding for this not only counts for the trees, but the water bags, like the dripper bags. But one of the things that we're gonna be looking for are volunteers who can go out on a, say, semi-weekly basis and take the jugs and actually fill up those bags, because these are areas that don't necessarily have a water hose. So it is a big commitment, and that's where our volunteer hours are gonna be key. But thankfully, we've got some high school students who are interested in helping, and we've got neighbors that are interested in helping, and I hope, you'll see it as a good investment, so you can help us out as well. Yes, ma'am.
Native trees, or you have plant more Siberian elms?
Currently, the plan is to, focus on trees that are native to Houston and also that score highest in the Rice University Kinder Institute's, scoring of what trees absorb the most stormwater and give the best quality shade. So I believe we're focusing on, species of oak trees, bald cypress as well, and 4 areas below power lines. They can't grow too tall because they grow up into the utility lines. We're looking at, red buds, Texas red buds, because they get a good amount of shade and grow quickly, but they don't grow so tall that they get up and caught in the center point lines. The last thing we're going to do is plant a bunch of trees and have center point jumping down. So, yes, sir. That's the downside of red buds, but when we were looking at what is, available and available to be funded, the thing that HEB has told us is there is some flexibility in the grant program. So when we're working with nurseries, we're gonna be looking at how can we maximize those grant dollars in a way that's gonna help the trees grow and thrive quickly. So I don't want to take up too much time today, because I know we've got more, but, if you're interested in talking, out in the lobby or signing up, we're gonna have tables at National Night Out as well. So please, give us a shot, and, yeah, congratulations, everybody.
All right, we're gonna go back before we move on to some voting information. I know that Mason wanted to give a quick update. Did you want to say hello?
Hey, y'all, my name is Mason Whiteside. I'm here from the office of your state senator, Carol Alvarado. It's been a while since I've been able to join y'all at one of your meetings, because I've been in Austin for just about the entire year up to this point. There's an old saying in Austin that no man's life, liberty, or property are safe while the Texas legislature is in session. And the Texas legislature has been in session quite a bit this year. We completed our regular session on the 2nd of June. At that point, I moved from Austin back down to Houston, and then very quickly had to return for 2 special sessions. So while a lot of things happened across these 3 sessions of the legislature, I want to draw your attention to just 3 things. The first 2 happened in the regular session of the legislature. Those 5 months during odd and even years when the legislature always meets. The first is they're both measures to improve the traffic surrounding railroad intersections, which, if you live in Eastwood, you know is a persistent problem. The first is $250 million in grant funding that's going to come down from TxDOT to build grade separations. I go around always talking about grade separations, and everybody asks me what that means. It means underpasses and overpasses. Those $250 million are going to be available by the 1st of next month. This is the largest ever commitment by the state, largest ever financial commitment by the state to addressing rail traffic. That money, those grants are going to be able to be distributed to any intersection in the state, but given that the Houston area contains the majority of all at-grade rail intersections in the state, we're hoping that the lion's share of it will come down here. So be calling your city and county officials. The cities and counties across the state are going to be the ones applying for these grants, presenting projects. The legislators get the money available, and of course, we are happy to write letters of support for certain projects, but there's going to be a mad dash to get those dollars just as soon as TxDOT makes them available. We think this is a really significant change. The legislature in previous years has been reluctant to address rail traffic in any significant way, and in all fairness, the legislature is limited in what they can do. No city, no state, no county can regulate rail traffic, only the Congress can. And it leaves the legislature, it leaves the state, it leaves city, it leaves Harris County with few options to ameliorate rail traffic. Frankly, it's the best attempt at a solution that I've heard of or ever seen. But it, you know, just given the given our limited solutions, it's pretty significant. So be ready for when that money comes down. I know Lindsay is on top of it. The other thing I want to draw your attention to, separate from those $250 million, we secured $10 million for a pedestrian overpass on Broadway over the railroad tracks next to Milby High School. We all heard in November of last year when Sergio Rodriguez was killed walking to school. If you frequent that intersection, you know that when kids are walking to class and when kids are walking back home, that intersection becomes very congested, especially when trains stop there for extended periods of time. We were able to get Union Pacific to stop running trains through that section of track while school was starting, while school was letting out, but they're no longer doing that. But those $10 million have already come down to the city of Houston, and the city and TxDOT have begun planning and engineering to build a pedestrian overpass right there. That money is dedicated exclusively for that purpose. So I look forward to coming to y'all's meeting and updating you on the progress of that project. Now, we have a lot more candidates, I think, coming to the Eastwood Civic Club meetings than we normally do. And I think part of the reason for that is, well, probably the main reason for that is that the legislature redrew your congressional maps. Now, all of Eastwood is no longer going to be in the 29th congressional district. It's going to be in the 18th congressional district. Took the legislature 2 special sessions to pull this off. During the first special session, House Democrats broke quorum, left the state, went to New York and California and Illinois and other places to deprive the legislature of, to deprive the House of Representatives of quorum, to prevent them from passing new maps. They were able to kill it once, but we couldn't kill it twice. The legislature has the power to redraw congressional maps. They're obligated to every 10 years following the census to account for changes in population. They did it this time mid-decade prior to any census as a pure power grab. The results across the state is 5 more likely Republicans going to Congress. But what it means for us here in Eastwood is that we all have to vote in a new congressional district. So come the partisan primaries in March, you won't be voting in the 29th congressional district as you have for decades. You'll be voting in a new congressional district, the 18th. It's just something to be aware of. You're going to keep your member of Congress, Sylvia Garcia, until January of 2027. And at that point, it's going to switch over. You're going to have a new member of Congress. There is no member of Congress presently elected to the 18th congressional district. There is one member of Congress who lives in that district, but you're going to have the opportunity to choose a new member of Congress. Eastwood, the precincts here are going to be some of the highest turnout in the entire district. I was looking at the numbers. There's quite a few good primary voters and general election voters in this district. So be sure to make your voices heard. Let candidates know that they kind of come down to your civic club if they want your vote. And it seems like y'all are doing a pretty good job at that. There were some other political things that happened in the legislature surrounding redistricting, but I don't think I'll get into that right now.
Yeah, we got a whole lot to cover after
I
this.
understand. But it's really great to be back with y'all. Eastwood is where I live when I'm not being summoned to Austin. And I look forward to meeting with y'all every month. I look forward to coming to y'all's national night out.
Nice. Cool. Thank you. All right. So we do have a unique presentation or just a quick hello from our Harris County District Clerk's office. If you want to come say hey.
Hi, my name is Sandra Mendoza. I'll promise to be super quick because I know we have a lot to cover. I'm in the Harris County District Clerk's Office and Community Outreach Liaison. So we cover a lot, but I just want to cover two things that mostly focus in this community, which is one is charity service. And I know when we hear that, everybody just, you look at your summons and you like, nobody wants to go. But in 2024, we out of over 1 million summons, we only had a 13% parent rate, which is extremely low, historically low. So and as when we live in a county as large as us, that is the same diverse as us, the jury panel should also reflect that. Statistics show that even having one minority on a jury panel makes a 30% difference for a more fair verdict. And for me, 30% is too big to not mention it. Clerk Burgess is super passionate about this. So, and I don't know if y'all are aware, but jury service is now $30 for the first day and $58 for every consecutive day after that. We offer free coffee and free parking for a first come, first served basis. And, but I know it's super, super boring, but I promise you showing up makes a world of a difference when we have such a low appearance rate. The other thing I wanted to cover is, I know most of us in this area are familiar with 5900 Canal, which is also known as Precinct 6. We have just opened a new satellite location for passports. So you can walk in from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and just get a passport. You don't have to have an appointment, as long as you have all the information you need. I've talked to some of the constituents out there who have done it before, and they said it takes about 20 minutes. Super fast, super easy, and there's free parking, so you don't have to hustle with the downtown traffic or anything like that. It's right here in this area. We've had like schools come out of there, families come out of there, super, super fast. But just resources that we have here in this community that make a difference in that. So thank you so much for giving me the time. Thank you for all you are doing. I know over there by Canal, the trains have been an issue too, so I'm glad you're doing something to really push on that. So thank you.
Cool, thank you. All right. So we're gonna go through a few things. I did want to share, and you can feel free to take a screenshot or this picture of this particular screen. Important dates to keep in mind for this upcoming election. We've got the last day to register to vote. And if you really want to, you can register to vote right outside because our board member, Catherine, who's got her hand raised, is a precinct chair. No, not precinct chair. So voter registrar, volunteer voter registrar. So she can actually get you set up and registered to vote. So she's going to be doing that for the next couple with the super neighborhood, with the Eastwood Civic Association. She'll be at National Night Out. We want to make sure that we're increasing our voter turnout. You got the early voting days. And I also just want to call out the mail-in ballot. If you have a chronic illness, know somebody with a chronic illness, might be having a baby soon, it's probably good just to get that mail-in ballot just in case something happens, because I doubt that if you are sick or in the hospital delivering a baby, you might not think about your voting at that point in time, rightfully so, but just something that you might want to consider. And then our last day to receive a ballot by mail is on November 4th, and then election day is on November 4th. So I just want to share a couple sites that might be helpful, votetexas.gov and then harrisvotes.com. You can see if you're registered to vote. And this is also important because I know that they've gone through some of the roles and pulled people off of that. So just take a moment, double check that you're still registered to vote. If you aren't, you can go ahead and register, see what's on your ballot, check for polling locations and get a sample ballot. And you can take that sample ballot with you. So just making sure that you've got that ready to go, because there's always so much information on here that it stymies me, and trust me, I feel like I'm pretty involved. And so just a little bit about some of the things that are on the ballot. There are 17 constitutional amendments for Texas on the ballot. 17. That is not Lindsay making things up. That is a real number. I'm not going to read them all to you now because it would take way too much time, but I would highly suggest becoming educated on those. I've been posting them on social media. I've been posting them on the super neighborhood accounts. Maybe I'll go through and talk about them, but I do suggest that you do that. Now, legally, you can skip those. I just suggest that you don't, because I feel like everybody's voice should be heard no matter where you are on the political spectrum. So Congressional District 18, using the old maps, Congressional District 9, also using the old maps. These are going to be on here. And then at-large council member position 4. And that's the one Letitia Plummer currently holds. She is resigning from that position to run for county judge. So that's why you're seeing some of our at-large position for resident or candidates come in. So one of the things moving on from voting, whole separate topic. One of the things I just wanted to share is we got a pretty big win with the minimum lot size, minimum building line petitions. There's a whole lot of words on here. The 1100 block of Wyatt and Jackson Court will get their minimum lot size, minimum building line ordinance on the 16th of September. And this is going to provide protection for 40 years. And we'll go through what this means. Paul O'Sullivan, you want to raise your hand real quick? Paul has been helping work on the next one, which is going to be the Eastwood Annex, which expires in June 2026. So high level, I'm not going to go into all of the specifics, but what are these things, right? In Houston, minimum lot size designates a specific lot size to prevent subdivision. And what we are doing is we're increasing what that minimum lot size is to prevent townhouse development as much as possible. And it's not a fail safe, it's not perfect, but it is a really good way to try to keep the character of the neighborhood, which is single family homes. And the same thing goes for minimum building line. So you've got a setback, you need to make sure that it's so far away from the street. And then also this helps prevent, I'm sure y'all have seen the mini mansions, right? That goes lot line to lot line, they leave no space for a yard. That's not in the character of the neighborhood, and we want to try to save that as much as possible. So again, these are not perfect solutions, but they are the best we have to help prevent townhouse proliferation in the area. So if your block is interested in this process, Paul O'Sullivan has agreed to be a point of contact for questions and to help residents get this going in Eastwood. And this is a tiny, tiny map, but you can actually see where they are and where they are not. We could probably share these on socials, but this little purple line is where they are. Correct. Yep. It's on the City of Houston website. See what the legend says. It says no SFR restriction for minimum lot size. I know this is like the worst map to point out, but I can send it out. That is on Rusk Street. I'm sorry, this thing is really, really finicky. South side of Rusk between Lockwood and Eastwood right here. Might be worth looking at. So the process, sorry, go ahead.
Does this impact, accessory dwelling units? Like garage apartments and that kind of thing if you were going to build?
Paul's raising his hand behind you.
So when your block or area, various petitions have two comes, when your block is approved, at that point, you can, what is approved thereafter is called single family, which will consist of a house and a garage apartment. Used to be up to 900 square feet. I don't know if that's still the same, or a duplex and a garage. So that's what. So
Yes, thank you.
Yes, you cannot have a duplex and a garage apartment in that specific case. Okay.
That's like new construction, have existing.
Correct. Yeah, if you already have that, you're already grandfathered in. One more question. Sure. Okay, so we might go through more of this as if this is something people are interested in. I don't know, Paul, it might be fun to do a whole workshop on this separate from all of the other things we've done. Just as a follow-up, we've talked about this last month, but I'm going to continue to remind everybody. This is the Cape Center. This is the EB Cape Center, and it was sold to Houston Police, South Central. South Central currently is on St. Emmanuel, and that location is being taken away for the North Houston Highway Improvement Project. So the Houston Police are going to take this one over as of January 2026. They are going to do a complete renovation. And then they said that they're going to let us have it back in summer 2027. It's going to be a whole new setup. They're not going to have an auditorium, but they have given us at least a space. We've narrowed down a few ideas and we're trying to just get some of these places finalized for our next meeting spaces. So just keep on the lookout for that. All right, some committee updates. I don't know if you want me to speak. I can just share a couple things. Our special events committee does have 2 events coming up if y'all wanted to jot these down. On September 27th, Coffee and Conversations is going to be combined with a play date. So this is going to be at Broadmoor Park from 8:30 to 10 a.m. It's going to be coffee and lots of playtime. That's what we want. It's actually, I'm really glad Emily and Amy are doing some of these things because I love them because like I don't have kids, so you know, kids are not on my radar, right? And so like I was like, she said we should have play dates. And I was like, of course we should have play dates. I just wasn't even thinking about it. So it was great. The last one we had what 20 kids come out, and it was so fun just to watch them having fun. They had popsicles. It was a great time. So highly suggest you come out, bring your kids out. It's a lot of fun. Then we also have National Night Out at the Park Street Esplanade west of Lockwood. This is going to be on October 7th at 6:30 p.m. It'll be on social, so you don't have to memorize it. We had a really good turnout last year. I don't know if y'all knew that. We had like 200 people come out last year. So I highly suggest you come out, meet your neighbors, learn about everything that you want. We'll have people out there to help, provide some education and information while we're out there. I'm not going to read every single word on this. This is just a trains committee update. Just reminding you to report block trains to the Federal Railroad Administration portal. And then also a new one that I just learned about before I went on vacation. You can report illegal dumping in the UP right away, which is kind of new. If you happen to see a camp that's on the tracks, that's incredibly unsafe for everybody involved. So if you see a camp that's on there, Union Pacific can reach out and work with our teams in order to get everybody safely removed. There's a lot of illegal dumping, especially along Capitol. There's overgrown weeds, everything. So you can actually report that directly to Union Pacific, which they said they're going to respond. If they don't, give me a call and I will call them myself. So we do have the Eastern Rail study that's happening right now. They're working on just getting all the contracts finalized. I know Amy and I are going to go to Commissioner's Court to speak on behalf of our advisory board, just to remind them of, to move forward and also to reiterate the need for community feedback. This just comes without saying in this whole meeting, something Clay and I have stated to all of our elected officials and reiterated every single time we talk to our officials, that real community engagement is required. We're not talking like slap us with a project, check that box, we talk to the community. I'm talking like talk to us, help us be a part of the solution. Don't just give us a project and tell us that's it. We are going to be a part of the solution, because if not, we're probably going to be a part of what tears it down. Yes. It's just we've been burned so many times. I've been hearing some really positive conversations out of Harris County. I've also been hearing really positive comments out of the Gulf Coast Rail District and the East End District, that they have some ideas of some of the things that they want to do, but they don't even want to tell me what those ideas are until we've talked to the community. And I was like, that's what we need, because we need to make sure that we are involving the community in these things and not just 1 or 2 people making decisions without input. Yes, Lisa.
So my question is about something Mason alluded to, that the grant money that's coming available.
Mhm.
Who's coordinating the asks from the city and the county? Or are we just competing against each other? Are we at the table around that?
So I will tell you, there is a rail safety group that meets. It's elected officials, and I have requested to be a part of that many, many times, but I'm not an elected official, so I can't be a part of it. They're supposed to be working with TxDOT, City of Houston, Harris County, Carol Alvarado's office, as well as Christina Morales and Anna Hernandez's office. We went to the Create Chicago, working with Chicago's Create on like what it looks like to create these good solutions with the community. I don't know if we're getting way into the weeds about this, but if you've ever looked at some of the grade separations Chicago has, they're great because they're tiny. They don't disrupt the neighborhood. They don't rip out trees. They don't put in these monstrosities that are just going to destroy the character of the neighborhood. They're artful, they're creative, they include the character of the neighborhood, and just mainly, you're not ripping up a lot of stuff, right? You're just trying to keep it within the right of ways. And I've heard some ideas of what people want to do, and I've just said, hey, listen, precinct two's got this study. Let's get through that study first, which is supposed to have thorough community engagement before a design is even fully like set upon. But to answer your question specifically, those dollars are going to be split amongst different regions in Texas. And I don't know if the city of Houston is necessarily ready to submit any application right now because there's not really a shovel-ready project, which is something we've talked about repeatedly, is that you have to have these designs in order to get community feedback, in order to get these things ready to go with the design so that you can apply for the grant to get the actual work completed. And this particular grant, while it's fantastic and I'm not opposed to it, it does require a design to be fully ready. And we just don't have that. And there's also a 50 million cap per project. So that does limit some areas, like Griggs McCall Long was on there, but that one I think is 160 million budget. And so there's just a lot going on with that. I hope I answered your question. It was a really long way to answer that. Yeah, Kyle.
Yeah, so I'm looking, forgive me, because I don't remember every single detail, but, so the Gulf Coast Rail District, they're basically like the greater area rail thing.
Correct.
That does a lot of, that would be paying, or at least making the designs for these overpasses and such, right? Is this correct?
Not necessarily. They don't have any money to do this. They can apply for the grants to get the studies, and then the municipality would need to get the grant to actually build it.
So, but they could perhaps like set design standards or something like that.
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm willing to ask them. I think that'd be valuable.
That's my pointed question, and maybe you could tell me what this is today. I'm looking on their page right now, and they have a City of Houston appointee, which is vacant. Why is that vacant, and why aren't you that person?
You gotta go talk to the mayor. That's his appointment. I've been recommended, but mayor is not making that appointment, apparently. But I would be glad to, and y'all know. Thankfully, Veronica Chapa-Gorchensky of the Easton District, as well as Jack Hannegriff from the Rail Safety Task Force and Rail and Road Safety Program at Easton District is there. So I'm a little less concerned, but trust me, I have pointed that out numerous times. It doesn't have to be me, y'all, but I would like somebody from our area to be a part of that. All right, cool. So just a few community announcements here. I've got the Easton State of the District with Carol Alvarado's office on Saturday, September 27th. So you can go hang out with our play date, have coffee, and then go hang out with Carol Alvarado's office. We've got the Reimagine Commerce Street, which is coming up. It's not necessarily in our district, but you know what? East End is all important. We all talk to each other. Actually, that's this coming Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday. And then I put this on here because Edo Civic has really been coming together as a new civic club in our area. And they're really trying very, very hard to just kind of increase community engagement. I just want to make sure that we're crossing that line and we're learning who our neighbors are and we're doing our best to support each other, because I don't believe in, tearing each other apart. I think we should always lift each other up. So I just want to give everybody a minute. I saw some people taking pictures. Make sure we're all good here. Okay, cool. Lots of upcoming meetings. Again, you're welcome to take pictures if you want. East Lawndale's tomorrow. Edo Management Group is on Wednesday. City of Houston evening public session is on September 16th. South Central PIP. I know we've got Sylvia, who never misses one of those. We're all good there. We got South Central PIP on September 16th. And then we've got Harrisburg TERS, Monday, September 22nd. Our super neighborhood meeting, which is on September 24th. Ian Lavacek is actually going to give a presentation on what it means to build safe streets. So I highly suggest that you come out and listen and support Ian. We've got our Easton District Board of Directors meeting on the 25th. And then we are not going to meet here again until November 3rd, because we are going to have our national night out. So before I adjourn and say goodbye, are there any other announcements? Oh, there was a home tour. Oh my goodness.
Well, you updated it. I'll just talk.
Here.
Most of you know that every year Eastwood hosts our annual home tour. It's really important event for our community. Not only is it an opportunity for us to share with residents throughout the city how wonderful our neighborhood is. But it also is our only fundraiser for the Civic Association. So it is how we pay for all of these wonderful events that Lindsay's been talking about. The 27th annual home tour will be coming up in just over a month. It's October 18th and 19th. We have 5 homes that will be featured on the tour, as well as our commercial property, which is a follow-up from last year. You'll be able to visit Finca Tres Robles. They've completed their farm now, so last year it was just the concrete and dirt pit, and now it's a beautiful thriving farm. We would encourage all of you, of course, to buy a ticket, but we also really are in need of volunteers throughout the weekend. We will need probably upwards of 80 volunteers to help pull the event off. So if you sign up to volunteer, you get a free ticket to then go visit the rest of the homes. And we are still open for sponsorships. So there are some postcards that I've left out front. I encourage you to take one for yourself, but also take a handful. Ask if you can leave it at your favorite coffee shop or restaurant in the area and help us just continue to promote the event.
Cool. All right, any other announcements? Well, one announcement, come on.
Don't give me a mic. This is dangerous. Hi, I'm Ross Solani. I see a couple familiar faces in here because I have been networking across the community, which is a very new space for me. It is not my day job. However, I want to introduce myself and my family because we did purchase the old decrepit car wash that is now no longer right across the street at 1475 Ernestine. I see a hand clap. I know it is totally overgrown, but I still think that looks better than that old decrepit car wash that was hosting my drug paraphernalia and stuff. So anyway, I wanted to introduce our project really quickly so everyone has an understanding of what we're planning on doing there. We do want to open an indoor baseball training facility for children. It's specifically going to target the ages, well, little league age 4 to probably about 14 to 15. It's going to have an indoor infield with 60-foot baselines along with some cages. We've also struck a partnership with the Knights of Columbus next door to kind of expand into their property, not only just for parking, but also to host community events, food truck park, etc. So I want to introduce myself because now the city process begins, and I did just submit for a variance request today. So you're going to see that big white sign that says variance request posted on the property. Come to me with any questions or concerns. I promise my intentions are good. And what we're asking for, I think I can get you to agree with me on. But just want to throw my name out there. If you have any questions or anything, you can talk to me in the lobby after. Thank you.
Oh, you have one more? Yeah, you're good. We're here for it.
First of all, thank you. So my name is Diana Gonzalez. I'm the manager of Floors and Library. Thank you so much for posting our events. You guys do such a great job. I did just want to give everybody a reminder that tomorrow from 4:30 to 6 is our open house. So if you haven't been to the library in a while, it's a perfect time to stop by and see everything that we have to offer. We're going to have little tastings of all of our different programs, some different community resources, a lot of fun activities for the kids. We're doing an astronomy dome. So definitely a good time to come by and check that out. Also, September is library card sign up month. So if you haven't gotten your library card and you do sign up for a new card, you can enter for a chance to win a $100 gift card. And that is only happening in the month of September. So tell your friends that don't have a library card that now's the time to sign up. Thank you so much. The Flores Neighborhood Library. Yes, Flores. But the library card sign up is system wide.
All right, thank you so much. All right, any other announcements that we missed? All right, cool. I think we did it again. We are on time, even though we had a lot of stuff to share. So I officially call this meeting adjourned, and I hope that y'all have a lovely evening. Thank you so much.
trying to come up with the national, the west side of Lockwood. Or national head up.
Say that again?
How many